What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Yala, your thrice weekly podcast where we talk about the hottest news with a touch of what, Terrence?
Good old humor.
Good old humor, man.
Yeah.
Good old humor. It's a new week. Is it a new week? Yes, it is a new week.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And how was your weekend, man?
It was nice. Yeah, Singapore is actually much cooler than I thought it would be since I came back from my last vacation and all. Yeah.
But now whenever it rains like this, right, I just know it's going to get fucking hot.
After that, lah.
Yeah. It's almost like a roller coaster, right? You know, you are going to the top. You know there's a steep decline coming soon. And I still enjoy this kind of weather. I love this kind of grey weather.
Yeah. It's nice. And it's the second half of the year already. So, then before you know it, you're starting to count down to the monsoon season again.
Now, what is monsoon season, Terrence?
It's Christmas carols, Mariah Carey, and all that. That's the monsoon season, basically.
What about Deepavali?
Oh, yes. Deepavali, of course.
Yeah, Deepavali, National Day.
National Day.
You know, the news that Kit Chan is going to be singing Home.
Yeah.
And like that seems like it's big news, right?
Her singing Home?
Yeah.
It'll be like a big karaoke session, I can imagine. Everyone, all Singaporeans.
But I mean, we always play Home at NDP, right? It's just she doesn't sing it live, lah.
Yeah. There's all these retro acts coming back, lah. Retro acts like Coldplay. And
Coldplay not retro act, lah. They still got new albums.
It's retro act.
Michael Learns to Rock is a retro act.
Yeah. So the context is that I think last Friday, you and I were at a university for talk SIT, right?
Yeah.
And we were having this discussion with people about Taylor Swift and Coldplay. And then, I think the young person we're talking to was like, Coldplay, okay if I miss it, because it's a bit of it's for older people. That's what she means, people like you and me, older people. Yeah. Retro act, lah.
No, there's a difference.
What's the difference?
Because to me, retro act is like the act used to be big. And then now they're going to come back and play their old songs.
Okay.
Coldplay is going to play some old songs, but they also have a new album.
They're still big, lah. That's what you're saying.
They're still big, lah.
Oh, so you feel like you're still, as a fan and all, your tastes are still relevant.
Yes, of course. Would Michael Learns to Rock sell out 6 concerts? No, what?
You never know. They don't need to. They're performing free, right? Apparently.
Oh, is it?
I think it's a free concert.
Yeah, because retro act, nobody gives a shit.
No, it's for charity. You're such a cynical.
Retro act, But yeah, I mean, Singapore was awash with stories of people trying to get Taylor Swift tickets.
Yeah. I think I was just commenting with some people over the weekend that probably, everywhere you hear Taylor Swift song, there'll be someone like suddenly break down crying.
Because they cannot get tickets.
Reminded that they couldn't get tickets. And that's what Taylor Swift means to a lot of people. Does it mean, what does Taylor Swift mean to you?
I mean, I never used to be a fan of Taylor Swift. Certain songs are a bit catchy, like Shake It Off and all that. But my wedding, the first dance was Lover by Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I really like that song.
Yeah.
So I still wouldn't say that she's like, oh my God, amazing. There are 2 songs of hers I like, Lover and Invisible String. Apart from that, I'm okay, lah.
How about Shake It Off, Blank Space, all this?
Shake It Off, I'm like, it's catchy, but not my thing.
Yeah, I love Blank Space because there was that, that misheard lyric of about Starbucks lovers or something.
Yes.
You remember that from many years ago?
Yes.
Got a long list of Starbucks lovers.
What is it? What is the actual line?
Got a long list of ex-lovers. But somehow everybody was listening to this. Got
lovers.
A long list of Starbucks lovers.
I see.
Yeah,
but Taylor Swift for you?
Yeah. I mean, I know she grew up with probably the generation of kids after my time, lah. But yeah, because of that, she's sort of woven into the fabric of pop culture. I mean, can you imagine? Remember Kanye West invading the stage during the MTV VMAs? Remember her performing at the Victoria's Secret fashion show and maybe even outshining some of the Victoria's Secret angels and all that. And so she's very
she's
involved
a spectacle. She's a spectacle.
More than that, I think she's part of like pop culture history. Like any moment in time, there probably was a Taylor Swift soundtrack to it. And interesting point, I do follow the John Mayer like Reddit and everything, and because she literally has a song called Dear John, which apparently is about their relationship and all that, so there's a lot of animosity from Taylor Swift fans towards John Mayer and his fans also.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So every time Taylor Swift comes up in the news or that, there's a lot of discussion on the John Mayer subreddit about it as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Very vengeful.
Because
streak,
it was a bad breakup.
Apparently, yeah. And you know she has the reputation of writing songs about her breakups, whether it was Ed Sheeran or John Mayer or that. So yeah, there's a lot of...
she went out with Ed Sheeran?
I think so. Yeah, wasn't there an album that they did, like an album that was dedicated to...
Taylor Swift and Ed Sheeran?
Yeah.
You sure not?
Pretty sure.
Taylor Swift, Ed Sheeran? I thought they're just friends.
I think they went out, right? No? Harish's world's being shook right now.
They are not. They never went out lah. They're friends lah.
Friends after dating possible, right?
No lah. Maybe they were. I don't think so lah.
Okay. But why does that matter? Why does that matter so much?
No, because I felt like I was okay. I generally know all this pop culture, like the rumors and all that. And I've heard lah, like not Benedict Cumberbatch. Who plays Loki? Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah, Tom Hiddleston.
Tom Hiddleston, that one with Taylor Swift.
And then there was Calvin Harris also, right?
Calvin Harris, but not Ed Sheeran lah.
Not Ed Sheeran? I thought that was
long-time friends. Maybe it was something under the wraps.
Yeah, you never know. Yeah.
But friends.
Yeah. So yeah, I can understand lah. This feels like it's like a pilgrimage for a lot of people who grew up with her. You know, to have to attend a concert and just
also,
see her.
Probably a lot of people grew up in their early teens to the late teens to the early 20s with Taylor Swift, right? And I think anytime there's a singer that lasts that long over that period of time talking about heartbreak, there's a lot of emotions attached to it.
Yeah, and not having got cancelled or some big scandal in between. That's actually an achievement in it by itself.
Yeah. Too bad the first topic is about someone who hasn't even lasted as long as Taylor Swift, but already got a guffaw.
Yeah. But before that,
yes.
What do you have to plug?
I guess just the podcast. We are back on track. We are both done with traveling. We are back on track. If you're new to the podcast, thank you for giving us a chance. And if you do enjoy the podcast, it would be great if you could share it with one person who maybe hasn't heard of us or heard of what we do.
Yes.
Because that's normally how we grow. Word of mouth, man. Word of mouth.
But yes, speaking of mouth, our next topic, someone was mouthing certain things that quite inappropriately. And what is this topic?
So on Reddit, I believe it was last night, so 10th July, there were one Redditor posted a clip from an April 2023 parliamentary sitting where Speaker of Parliament, Tan Chuan Jin, was just calling the MP who was following Jamus Lim after Jamus Lim gave an impassioned speech about how the government needs to help the poor. So Tan Chuan Jin called the next person, and then under his breath, he said something along the lines of fucking populist.
Yeah.
In response to Jamus Lim's speech. So, I mean, now it's out in the news and all that, but when did you first come across this?
Just this morning, in the news.
In what format?
Just scrolling news and...
so you saw it in the news already?
Yeah, news article, yeah.
Oh, I think someone in the WhatsApp group shared the Reddit post with me.
Okay.
And at that point in time, I thought it was, okay, you know how you were just saying misheard lyrics, right, from Taylor Swift?
Yeah.
Ex-lovers became Starbucks lovers.
Yeah.
So I was thinking because he says it at the same time when the next MP is kind of like shuffling his papers. So you can hear the bit of a populist, but I was like, wait, is this even real? Is it just people like blowing it out of proportion?
Yeah.
And then I saw his Facebook post, Tan Chuan Jin. And he posted it 6 hours ago today, so about 10 a.m. on Tuesday, 11th July. And generally saying, and I quote, "There is a recording of a parliament sitting in April this year that had been circulating. I had to listen to the recording as I did not recall the occasion. Based on the clip, it appears that I had a reaction to a speech made in the chamber. When I listen to speeches made like everyone, I do form views on them. What was said were my private thoughts which I had muttered to myself and not to anyone. However, I should not have expressed them aloud or in unparliamentary language, and I apologize for that. I have also spoken to the member, Jamus Lim, to make that apology as well, which he has kindly accepted." That's it. So when I saw that, I was like, oh shit, this is real.
Yeah, it's real.
This is real.
And for those people who are, thinking this is not a big deal, don't need to listen to it. I think it's worth to just listen to the clip once. it will surprise you at the amount of disdain you can hear in his voice when he says, fucking populist. It's not like the kind of, I think when they were, remember when the last hot mic moment with Leong Man Wai?
Yeah, and
then
Vivian Balakrishnan, right?
Yeah, and I don't know who it was exactly, but they were saying,
Did he go to
what school did he go to?
Yeah.
Must be lousy school. That was a joke, right?
Yeah.
That was like, you could brush it off as a kind of insensitive or
just a douchebag comment,
douchey
like
kind of joke.
Yeah.
But this one, like, wow, you could sense the disdain when he's fucking populist. And it's that kind of like, you say under your breath because you just can't control yourself. Like, you're just uttering like, oh, I can't stand this guy. That kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
So that's why I say, like, even though it's just literally 2 words, it's worth listening to it just to hear the disdain in his voice.
But why do you feel this needs to be the first topic we talk about? We started a new week, so many topics to talk about, but why this one?
I think, you go to some commentators like Sudhir of John Media. He posted an email that he sent out to Tan Chuan Jin himself, like cking comment. And he pointed out that, as the Speaker of Parliament, which Tan Chuan Jin is, by parliamentary rules, you are supposed to be as impartial as possible throughout the whole process. So how does you, so quickly and so with so much disdain dismissing a speech made by another member of parliament, does that give the appearance that you're not very impartial, right? Because ultimately, we've been to parliament and we've seen the process where Speaker of Parliament has a very difficult role to control the amount of time people are speaking, to keep proceedings moving, everything. But that also means it can cause, certain anger in Parliament, like we saw Leong Man Wai's Xia Sui issue, right, where he didn't agree with what the Deputy Speaker was saying, that we need to cut off the time for clarifications by 5:45 p.m. They said this debate cannot end at 5:45. So there is a point of contention that the Speaker of Parliament holds a lot of power over like who can say what and all that. So for the Speaker of Parliament to have been caught in a moment where obviously, although it's their private thoughts, but it also, given the amount of power given the amount of control that they have over how much time people have to speak in Parliament, doesn't reflect well, I think, So I think that was Sudhir's point when he quoted what the role of the Speaker of Parliament is supposed to do.
Somehow everyone enter Parliament must bow to the Speaker, right?
Yes.
We
correct.
also had to bow to the Speaker. We were on a different floor and we still had to bow to the Speaker.
In the direction of the Speaker,
Yeah, in the direction of the Speaker. So like what you said, basically the official statement on like parliament.gov.sg, the duties of the Speaker: presides over the sitting of the House, enforces the rules prescribed in the standing orders of Parliament. It is may or may not be an MP. They decide who has the right to speak, puts the questions for the House to debate on and vote on. The Speaker does not take part in the debate, but can abstain or vote for or against the motion.
Yeah.
And basically, it's meant to be impartial, but it is the enforcer of discipline, right?
Kind of, yeah.
There is leader of the House, which is Indrani Raja.
Yeah.
But Speaker of Parliament is almost like, that's why he sits on a higher chair.
Yeah.
There is that authority, even when
presides over proceedings.
Yeah,
right?
and all the MPs come up, you basically say, Mr. Speaker,
Yeah.
and this and that.
Yeah.
And when Leong Man Wai spoke out against the Speaker, I think when someone asked him to do something and he said, Mr. Speaker did not ask me, so I suggest you don't ask me to.
Yeah.
Indrani threw her file and brought up very clearly about the conduct of MPs in Parliament.
Correct.
So when I saw this, when I thought it was fake, then I saw it was real. And I think what pissed me off the most was his apology. Because, you form views on them. Yes, everybody goes through life, you form views on everything.
Yeah.
But I think what separates it is like what you actually do or say versus what you think.
Yeah.
There's no way you can control people's thoughts, right? But for him to say it, one thing, just feels so ignorant. And you're stressed, your job not easy, whatever. Ignorance. And plus, this hot mic issue. Like, I understand also Parliament sits, once every month, is like hours and hours on end. Speaker of Parliament, I don't envy the job.
Yeah.
You cannot switch off, right? But in this case, you switch off, then your apology is so nonchalant. And it almost seems like, based on the clip, it appears that I had a reaction. And when I read language like that, right? Because even on like text with someone, all this passive aggressive text,
Yeah.
or like when you have an argument with someone, it appears as
Yeah.
opposed to based on the clip. I had a reaction because I know arguing with my wife also when I say things like I'm sorry you feel this way. I know is digging a hole for myself already. You cannot say I'm sorry you feel this way.
Yeah.
As opposed to I'm sorry I said this.
Yeah. Correct.
So when I read this, I'm like, hello, this does not work in spousal arguments. This cannot work on Facebook. So then it feels so nonchalant, and just because he called Jamus Lim to make an apology, I mean, Jamus Lim, classy lah. He replied on the wall itself. Speaker did indeed call, and I have accepted his apology.
Yeah.
But maybe it's also coming off the back of the whole ride-out gate.
No, not just ride-out gate, but a week ago, we literally, the whole xia sui thing in Parliament came up now, right? The use of words like xia sui to describe parliamentary proceedings and all that.
Yeah.
That was like, it was debated. It was, literally like PSP was made to give an apology for doing that.
Yeah.
And so in this case, isn't it even more xia sui to say the least, that one MP is calling another MP, fucking populist like that, right?
But then I go to Tan Chuan Jin's wall, I see people saying, we are all human. This is a mistake. At least he has apologized. Isn't that better than not saying anything, Terence?
True. At least he apologized. But how you do the apology? And what you're arguing about is that the apology doesn't feel or sound sincere, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's even worse than all those YouTube apologies by YouTubers, where they sit down on the couch like, this is not going to be an easy thing to say.
Yeah. I did read his apology. I actually didn't think, I probably differ from you, and I don't think it's as what do you call it, insincere as you think it is. To me, it is possible that, it's a hot mic moment. You utter certain things under your breath, and you might not even have known, and you might have forgotten, But so it is a possibility that is the case. But the apology, I mean, he has made an apology very quickly, and even seems like he's reached out to Jamus Lim also and made an apology. So it's I think I don't have too many big issues with the apology per se.
Maybe it's because, he was smart, he apologized fast. But maybe it feels like this is one of those things that is so easily just ignored.
Yeah.
Because I totally understand. You're in a work setting.
Yeah.
Parliament is work for them.
Yeah.
Right? It's a long ass day.
Yeah.
Sometimes someone says something that pisses you off. Sure. And you have the sentiments. Sure. But when you say it like this, is it just going to end here? Maybe it's because, like what you say, coming off the whole xia sui thing, where you see all these debates about what seems like nitty-gritties. Like we literally said on the podcast last week.
Yeah.
We both agreed that Indrani had to say something, right? Because it is something that is undesirable that you don't want to nip in the bud.
Yeah.
So in this case, you could argue that it's a small thing, just boil it over. But it's a small thing worth highlighting, right? Worth kind of making a statement and saying, okay, this is uncalled for behavior. It is wrong. We don't do this in future and we can move on, but it's wrong.
So if you were Indrani, would you be stepping up to the podium and saying, I believe that an apology is in order to Parliament? Would you be putting that forward?
But technically he apologized already, right?
But to Parliament
But even PSP, Leong Man Wai apologized in Parliament.
Oh, correct.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So
apologized on Facebook. He didn't apologize in Parliament.
Yeah, correct.
The only time he apologized, I think, was when he spoke out against the Speaker of Parliament, or spoke out against another MP, which that one you look also, that's a douche thing to say.
No, so would you want Tan Chuan Jin to, at the next sitting of Parliament, to apologize for that moment before the proceedings begin or something like that?
Yes, I would appreciate that.
Okay. So that would satisfy you, right, if he did that?
Maybe not. Okay, wait. Tan Chuan Jin versus Indrani. I don't understand the difference between Leader of the House and Speaker of Parliament. Like who is more senior or not. But I just feel like, there needs to be something like a bit more to what we have seen is demanded of like opposition MPs.
And not just opposition MPs, man. Even just people who go and sit in Parliament. I mean, we're literally going there, like you say, we do scans, check everything, bow down to the Speaker of Parliament, surrender your phone, go and sit down, cannot talk to each other. So we're literally following all the rules, right? So yeah, I think if you're asking people to observe the quorum when they come to Parliament and all that, right? I think as the Speaker of Parliament, that's the least you yourself should observe.
So you also feel there should be something?
Yeah, not just apologize to Parliament, apologize to the people who go
in
there.
The gallery.
The gallery,
who
sitting
fucking
there.
have to struggle to find 3 times 20 cent coins for the locker.
Even coughing, I also had to do because I don't want to make noise and cough, because I don't want to scare people I'm sitting with. I don't want to make too much noise. So yeah, I observed the decorum of Parliament. So why shouldn't the Speaker of Parliament?
But if it's a one-off thing, like let's say he's been Speaker of Parliament for 6 years, assuming one parliamentary sitting every month.
Yeah.
Or they don't sit in June, right? So 11 months, let's say each total of 10 hours.
Yeah.
There's like 700 hours of parliamentary sitting. Maybe this is the first time he hot mic moment for like 3 seconds.
Yeah.
So 99.999% of the time, he never says swear words, he never mutter anything under his breath. Is it still worth an apology?
I think it is on multiple fronts, because like what Surya says, he needs to appear impartial. So having his thoughts about certain things, it shouldn't be aired in such an ugly fashion. Yeah, and then the decorum of the whole place. Like if you're complaining that Leong Man Wai doesn't respect the quorum of Parliament and he's he's very siasui and all that kind of thing. If people are complaining about that, then what more as Speaker of Parliament, what kind of example you need to set for people, right?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't. Yeah, it's not like you are just sitting in the back benches, then you accidentally muttered some F word out loud or something like that. You are literally the one calling people, okay, next to speak, right? So you are constantly, imagine the umpire in a Wimbledon tennis match or something. In the middle of nowhere, suddenly you went this player or something like that, right? I think the match will be over. They'll just call it, they'll just stop it immediately, because it would immediately you won't be seen as impartial anymore, right? So there's an element of fairness that also goes into your job.
And I think one thing is, because even in the analogy of umpire and players, basically the players can never become an umpire, regardless of how well they do.
Yeah.
Whereas in this case, the Speaker of Parliament is chosen because it is a responsibility, given to a minister who is seen to be quite credible, right? So because when I go on the wall, on his wall, I see, we are all human. He made a mistake and apologized. He continues to step up for Singapore every single day. Yes, we don't need to discount what he's doing in service to the country. But being Speaker of Parliament, it is a big responsibility with a lot of prestige attached to it.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes that just because people are doing very high profile jobs or prestigious jobs, it almost feels like we must give them leeway to fuck up. If they fuck up, they're like, yeah, they're doing so much. Then I'm like, hey, then what? Just because people who are doing less work or less valuable work, that I say in air quotes also, that means they have less liberty to fuck up. And I don't like that sort of thing. If you are in a prestigious position where your role is to enforce the decorum, if you fuck up, all the more you should apologize.
Doubly so.
Yeah. All the more you should be very upfront and you walk the talk. You put your money where your mouth is. Like the mistake itself, to be honest, it's human.
Yeah.
In a work setting, you say stuff when you're annoyed.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you're in that role, it's like you can't just let it slide.
Yeah. And I mentioned that, you hear a lot of disdain in the voice. And then he had to reach out to Jamus. He said he reached out to Jamus Lim to apologize and all. I hope it also, I'm trying to imagine how the conversation went, Hey dude, you
just try it. I'll be Jamus.
Yeah, hey man.
Hello.
Yeah, you saw. I'm sure you've been seeing some of the things that people have posted.
Yes, I did.
Always in Parliament, and then I know. I'll admit it's a bit uncalled for. Yeah, so I'm sorry. Okay.
I thank you for calling.
Yeah,
thank you for calling.
So we're good, right? We're good.
I do have some other thoughts.
Yeah. And
we're good.
I'm kind of busy right now. I'll see you at the next
Perhaps
one.
we could catch up for coffee.
Next one. Yeah, we're a bit busy now. So yeah, that's the thing I'm afraid of. That I do hope that it kicked off some kind of discussion about their word populist and referencing someone's ideas as populist and all that. Because it's in the right-wing media and all, you see it's very easy anytime any left-wing or Democrat person raises a point, then they just, it's a fucking populism and everything, right? You know, and you just dismiss what they argue. But if you hear what Jamus was talking about, he was talking about, I think, the poverty line in Singapore. And he finds it very surprising that we haven't established what a poverty line is in Singapore, right? And then there were also, in the same clips that we put online, there were very clear points where the Speaker of Parliament interrupted his speech to tell him to, move. You have 30 seconds left and all that, right? Which does, when you interrupt a speech, you take away from the message that someone's trying to deliver and all that. So it's not a good look. And I do hope they maybe have a discussion about what point of Jamus's speech that he disagrees with so vehemently, that he said fucking populist with so much disdain,
Actually, I think that's a good point. Like, the word populist, right, is a very loaded word. It's in some way similar to, like, when someone's like, you feel sensitive, you just say, you're a snowflake. You just one brushstroke and immediately you label them. And populist is a very charged word because any politician, I'm guessing, would want to be known as someone who is willing to make tough calls, that goes against the grain for the greater good. And sometimes these might not be the most popular policies, but they have to do it anyway. So by saying someone's populist, then it just makes them seem like they're pandering. Right, which is not good.
And both sides, right? Like, I think even whether you're a PAP or what, someone somehow could accuse you of certain policy being populist, right? Pandering to whether it's the majority or anything like that, right? And people say, you're fucking populist. So it's not, to me, if you're just dismissing someone's views as populist and not having a conversation because of that, then that's not good also.
I'll try. Next time you say something I disagree, I'll be like, Terence, you fucking populist.
Yeah. But I said that we the only population that we have is like the Yalla But listeners. Right?
Correct.
Pandering to them. So it's different,
You try at your dinner also, anytime you're at the dinner or something and someone says something that maybe is a bit more leftist or a bit more, utopian, you just say this, fucking populist. You're so disconnected from the reality. You're fucking populist. And then see how they react.
So I mean, I do hope that they have, because of this incident, there might be a chance to connect and reflect on the word populism and what that means to both individuals.
But one thing that's interesting also is this was a parliamentary sitting in April. Now it's July. What the hell led that one person or two people or three people to actually hear this and take it out? And then you see more and more comments on Reddit, people saying, I don't care if the feed or the audio is changed. I've downloaded this and I download every parliamentary sitting the moment it goes live. And I'm like, oh shit. Who knows what sort of AI they're using to comb through all this. Which is great. I think the parliamentary live streaming started, was it after we started this podcast?
After.
And we did do a podcast saying that it's a good thing, because you can no longer just hide behind closed doors. And everybody can see, if they want to spend the time to go down, they can see these sort of things happen.
And probably these are, we wouldn't have picked it up if we were there live, right? That's the truth.
Yeah, correct.
So it's really technology and the hot mic and everything that allows people to go and comb through all this and see.
I wonder if every MP is thinking, oh fuck, did I say something once when the mic was hot? Oh my god, people are going to dig it up.
But that's what it needs to be, they need to feel like, your game has to be on at all times as a public profile, a public person who relies on, people to vote you in and everything, right? So I think that's it's just part of the game.
Part of the game, man.
But actually, the other interesting thing was actually also a response to this whole thing by So Ryong himself, right?
Oh, yeah, correct.
Right. Yeah, you told me about it, so maybe you want to just talk about it for people listening.
It was. So I mean, So Ryong and Tan Chuan Jin also have a bit of a history, Tan Chuan Jin is the president of the Singapore Olympics Committee, SNOC.
Singapore National
Olympics Committee, SNOC. Which passed the judgment to exclude So Ryong from the Asian Games 2023. Despite meeting the qualifying timing. And it was also an issue highlighted in Parliament by Pritam Singh. And it was something that we also have spoken about before because, aside from our own friendship with So Ryong, it just feels like fucking stupid. He was not He was excluded because of his conduct on like podcasts and certain language he used. So he posted something on Instagram. People are sending this to me because Tan Chuan Jin is SNOC president, and I was excluded from the 2023 Asian Games team despite qualifying because of the use of vulgarities on a podcast, as reported by Straits Times. I recognize that the situation is ironic. However, I'm also of the view that none of us are perfect. We have all cursed or sworn at times. I did it spontaneously when describing something I did. And he quotes himself, I fucked this up, on a light-hearted podcast where the hosts were using the type of language as well, bracket mirroring.
Yeah.
It appears that Tan Chuan Jin is doing it in Parliament to voice his disagreement with an opposition member of Parliament, which is clearly unsatisfactory conduct. And then he goes on to say, but the public can afford to be gracious enough to forgive him if he gives an earnest apology. I hope the SNOC can move on as well, so we can all focus on doing constructive things rather than nitpicking on each other. Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow, I read that. I'm like, Ryong, good on you, man. Like, it is just a very, I don't know whether this was his intention, but it's like a subtle, like, you know, yeah.
It's quite pointed, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe not subtle, but I thought his response was classy, and it does point out the big irony, lah.
Yeah. And I think, that people have been pointing out certain, perceived double standards, right? In how SNOC was handling the whole So Ryong thing as well.
Yeah.
So I think you can read up about quite a number of those things online. But yeah, this is another instance where I think the fact that SNOC had pointed out, hey, this guy used vulgarities on the podcast, literally in a leaked document, I think, to the Straits Times, where they pointed
like
out, hey,
this 30-page document.
Yeah, pointing out his transgressions, like literally using vulgarities or saying something like, come bro threesome on Titus Ng's Instagram post, right? The fact that he can point this out, and then the fact that the president of the SNOC has been caught in this moment, it's really a chef's kiss.
Chef's kiss. Yeah. And in this case, Ryong, his main role is to run.
Yes.
And he sweat.
Yeah.
Tan Chuan Jin's role as Speaker of Parliament is to enforce decorum.
Yeah.
And he sweat.
Yeah.
Feels like a lot closer to his actual responsibility.
Tough one to get away from.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Parliament, the gift that keeps giving. For
I think we really tried to move on from talking Parliament stuff, but
we tried to.
I woke up this morning like, oh gosh.
Yeah, you just know, and we did record a podcast this morning with a guest.
Yes.
Sudhir himself.
Yeah, which will come out soon.
Yeah, come out soon. And this is the afternoon podcast. So yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well,
interesting.
Like you said, sometimes people fuck up in jobs. And because they fuck up in jobs, some of them take more extreme measures, like not rage quitting, but this new thing called quiet quitting, right? And apparently Singaporeans are exceptionally good at it, right? And how do we know that?
Because there was a recent survey by Human Resources Agency Randstad of 1,000 respondents between 18 and 67 in Singapore. And apparently 35% have quiet quit their jobs. Which is 4% higher than the global average. So quiet quitting is a term that maybe came about, I think maybe a year ago.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, it's just where you do the basic minimum of what's expected at work. You don't go above and beyond. You don't go the extra mile.
Yeah.
And you quiet quit lah. So you're not fully present. You still show up, you do your shit, but you do the bare minimum. And apparently, Singapore has a percentage that is higher than the
4%.
4%, yeah. 4% higher than the global average.
Yeah, of quiet quitting.
So basically, 35%, more than 1 in 3 people have quiet quit their jobs.
Yeah, but actually, in that whole discussion about quiet quitting, my understanding of it was that it essentially is just you slack You slack at your job already, right? You're doing the bare minimum. It's not that you come close to resigning or anything, but you just don't go above and beyond doing what you normally do, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that it's a new thing, People have been doing it for a long time. It's just that now there seems to be a very clear term to describe it.
Yeah.
Did it exist during your time in the corporate world already?
I mean, it existed in the sense that people were coasting lah.
Coasting, yes, that's the
Coasting,
line.
yeah.
Coasting.
Yeah, slacking maybe is one
Slacking,
level.
Yeah. Slacking
one level.
is like you're not doing your job.
Yeah, coasting. So it's been around for ages already.
Yeah.
But suddenly over the past year, it became a thing lah.
Yeah. Do you prefer this term, quiet quitting?
I think in terms of the hierarchy of intensity, it feels like there is slacking, quiet quitting, coasting. So it's not as serious as slacking, but it's not as like responsible as coasting.
Yeah. But does it give? I know like a lot of people my age or boomers and all that, they're a bit confused by the term quiet quitting. I don't think they fully understand what it is. How would you describe it to someone who doesn't, from that era, basically?
So that's where it gets interesting. Specifically because you said from that era. Because, even when I explained it just now, it's you showing up at work, you do your basic baseline expected.
Yeah.
You don't go above and beyond. Yeah. You're not even fully present. So, based on that, when I speak to people from that era, like maybe 30 years ago, a lot of people, I assume might be, but isn't that just work?
Yeah. And I've also seen that people are saying, isn't that just like people with kids?
Yes.
They quiet quit. Essentially, they quiet quit already. Right? They just do what they can to get by, and then they have to. I mean, life takes over also lah.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking like it's a bit weird because for some reason, and I know we have spoken about this in like previously also. I think if you're running your own business, your work is in some way your life lah, right?
Yeah.
But if you're working for someone, at some point over the past 10 years or maybe 15 years. It reached a point where your work is supposed to be your life. You're supposed to go above and beyond for your company. I don't know how that came about.
Yeah.
Was it just the increased social media where it was all about hustle? What?
Uber lah. Break things fast and move fast and hustle. Hustle became the buzzword for a generation.
Yeah, I saw this new term also as a grind set, not mindset. It's the grind set.
Isn't that what you do last time you used to do when you go Zoom on Friday night and then you see people, then you set them up for the grind? Is it?
No, or maybe like when the DJ comes for his next set, this is the grind set. This is the grind set.
This is the one where all people start grinding. Yeah.
This is the grind set. Just not just regular set. This is the grind set. This is the grind set. So I think if I had to wager a guess, right? I think when Google and all the tech companies made the workplace more like home. They allowed you to do laundry. They give you all the shit. There was almost an expectation that you have to give more of yourself to work. And then that became the baseline and extended to companies that were not even able to provide that perks. All of a sudden, regardless of company you work for, it became an expectation that you have to give 100% of yourself at work.
Yeah.
So when I read this, I'm like, okay, you give 60 to 70%, you do the baseline minimum. I would imagine that this has been going on for a long time already.
Yeah. In fact, to me, it's like if you... for me, it's like, if you give the 60 to 70%, that's pretty good already.
That's right.
I've seen or heard or met a lot of cases that, they're not even at the quiet quitting level. They're at the, like, what you mentioned, slacking level.
Yeah.
So to be able to quiet quit, to do what you're required to do, that's already, to me, it's like, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good work day already.
I think because in pop culture, in work culture generally, there is this mantra that, if you don't find meaning in your work, you're in the wrong job. I mean, I'm very happy that right now, like, because we're doing our own thing, of course there's a lot of meaning.
Yeah.
But I have also been at a point in my first job working at a big corporate where I reached a point where I was like, okay, I'm giving too much of myself.
Yeah.
And I guess, did I quiet quit? I don't think so. I think just at the start, when I had the fire in my belly after graduating, I was like, I need to do everything I can to make this, like, everything work. And like, but it reached a point where I felt I was talking to a wall, and then I was like, okay, I'm still gonna go do my best in whatever I do, but I'm not gonna go above and beyond. But then it felt like, this is the norm actually.
Yeah.
Right.
Actually, but you did make an interesting point that back then, there weren't as many perks, right, for the corporate world. Like all the, the emphasis on work-life balance, maybe a ping pong table in your recreation room. Then after it became like full meals provided to you. Then now it's like gym membership for you.
Masseuse, sleeping
remote
pods.
mental health support, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
None of those perks existed when you and I were in the corporate world, right?
Mm.
It was really like, oh, you got a problem, you tell HR. And then HR,
correct.
you have one meeting with HR and that's it, right?
Yeah.
But other than that, you were expected to grind, right? So now, when in the new workplace, every company has like these perks, right? Like to take care of you. They got mental health. You can take a mental health day. You can you can even tapao dinner. You can bring your family. Family day, you bring your whole family, come and eat dinner at the office and shit like that, right? So maybe it almost seems like strange for people to rage quit and I'm so angry in my job, I hate it. Because there's so many other perks that come with the job that you're going to rage quit on your free meals at Facebook every day, kind of thing, right?
Correct.
So yeah, quiet quitting is the way of them like protesting against hating their jobs. They don't want to seem rage quit and seem so entitled. Oh my god, you're quitting your big job at a tech firm. So quiet quitting is the.
So what you're saying is like the goalpost almost has shifted. Last time when there were no perks, you rage quit, people are like, I can understand.
Yeah.
Now you've got all the perks, you rage quit, people are like, shut the fuck up.
Entitled.
So you can't go that extreme.
Yeah. So you do quiet quitting instead. And then so it still justifies, it's still saying that you're not engaged, your employer is not engaging your brain or anything very much. So it's not so much that you are entitled or anything like that. You quiet quit,
But I guess the difference between rage quit and quiet quit, you rage quit, you fucking have to find a job.
Yeah. And it's quite embarrassing and everything. Right?
Quiet quit.
Quiet quit is sort of just fade to the background and nobody sees you for a while. Yeah. But rage quit is like you have to kind of pick up the pieces, the broken bridges and everything that after that. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. And yeah, I think that's why now if you're a fresh grad also, I don't know, like as a fresh graduate, maybe every job you go into, there is this expectation that you have to give your all, and I mean that's how I think a lot of people still go in, which is great.
Yeah.
And I think like also when we our own work or the people we work with, it's always good to have people who are very passionate about the role.
Yeah.
But there's always some sort of compromise. You're so passionate about your own business, but you compromise the stability, you compromise the perks.
Yeah.
So I think in this case, like what you said, once you give the perks, it's almost like, okay, one thing that sometimes I get overly emotional is like when I'm in a mall or something and I hold the door open for someone.
Oh.
And then they walk past and they don't say thank you.
Yeah.
I get fucking pissed off. And I think I've told you this before.
Yeah.
And again, you give me this fucking preachy shit. Harish, if you open the door, you should not expect thanks. No, shut the fuck up, Terrence. But the thing is, because I did something nice, right?
Yeah.
I almost expect you to return, reciprocate.
Yeah.
So now it's almost like the company saying, hey, hello, I give you laundry.
Yeah.
I give you a vending machine where you can go and just hit a button, you get a new keyboard.
Yeah.
You better give yourself to work, no?
Yeah. 100%.
You better give 100%. 100%.
Yeah. So it's your way of protesting that.
Your way of protesting that. Interesting. But then does it do you think when you heard Singapore has a 4 percentage points higher than the global average, was it something like you went, I can see that? Or was it like, oh, that's surprising?
It's quite, I mean, in the sense that I think our productivity here is not great. I think we spend way too much time FaceTime, at least in general, right? In the office, that kind of thing. There's a lot of standing around, hanging out or just talking cock, that kind of thing. And actually, I think the last 2 years as an experiment, working from home and things like that, it showed that people can work, can sometimes even work better without all those distractions, right? So I think it's been recorded Singapore's productivity isn't great, right?
But it should be a global thing, right? If it's a COVID thing.
Oh, no. COVID was just an example showing that Singaporeans can work from home and some people have found it more efficient and everything, right? But in general, because our culture is so about spending long hours at work and, you got to have FaceTime and show that you stay there later than your boss and things like that. Whereas there are other countries where some of that is even outlawed. Sending a fucking text message from work is
France, right?
Yeah, in France against the law and things like that. So there's almost a drive, some productivity in some sense. They have to get a lot done within that work day, right? So and then after that they have the time to go and pursue their own activities and hobbies outside. So so-called work-life balance can be is easier to achieve lah. And I'm sure you've heard anecdotes, whether it's Australia or France or that. Once you're out of the office, you just switch off. You can switch off your phone or whatever. It's not an issue lah. Whereas in Singapore, I think that's not our culture.
I think there's one company in Denmark or something I read, like where at 5 p.m. the tables all fold back into the wall.
Yeah.
Basically telling all the staff you have to leave.
You have to go.
And I think another factor for Singapore, because there is rising cost of living.
Yes.
Of course, cost of living is happening all around the world, but in Singapore, probably it's increasing at a rate where it's on everyone's mind. Like.
Yeah.
So the thing about quitting your job, there's the reality of bills you have to pay. Like.
Yeah.
So if you quiet quit, you kind of like, okay, you don't give you all the work, but you still have a paycheck coming in.
Yeah.
Which I think in Singapore right now, to not have that paycheck, it really is like a big leap, you know.
Stressful. Yeah.
Yeah. So when I saw that, I was like, I mean, the 35%, I was like, that does sound high. Of course, it is 1,000 respondents.
Yeah.
It is not the biggest pool.
Yeah.
But it was higher than I expected.
Higher
than I expected. Yeah. Because I thought it's like a quiet quitting. I thought Singapore all quite like, industrious,
Yeah.
But I guess not.
Yeah. But and also, I don't know if they managed to get, I haven't looked at it, but I don't know if they managed to get data from China.
I think this one is just Singapore.
Yeah. Because, I think...
and the other countries, I'm not so sure.
Yeah, because I think there was that, I think the term also, quiet quitting, there's an equivalent term in Chinese for it as well. I can't remember what, but sort of like lying flat.
Lie flat
or something like that, right?
Yeah. Lie flat.
So, I mean, I'm interested to hear what it's like in China also, right? Where the culture, there's a 996 culture and things like that. 996 is the working 9 to 9, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., 6 days a week, right? That culture. So maybe it could be even worse there.
But yeah, now I've always seen these YouTube thumbnails coming up saying there's another new term for China. It's not lie flat, it's anti-hustle or some shit like that. In China. All about that counter to the whole 996 culture.
Yeah. So I can imagine quiet quitting, like you say, being very prevalent in societies where there are not a lot of, overtime protections, whether it's unions or anything. Plus the fact that, the cost of living is rising fast in these cities. So Singapore is like right in the middle of that Venn diagram. Yeah.
Interesting, huh? But yeah, man.
Tough one.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're quiet quitting and spending time listening to this podcast
while at work,
yeah,
we would love to hear from you.
And I know some of people do. Yeah, they do comment on our one shot comments on our subreddit, which is something that we highlight, right? That's our one shot comment.
Correct.
What is your one shot comment?
My one shot comment is actually something posted by Techno Kido 13 days ago. And it's about something that we have spoken about once in a while. Even in this post, they mentioned that, hi there, it was on Reddit.
Yeah.
Hi, there was talk about Yalabat merch last year as a means for us listeners to support Yalabat and to rep Yalabat. Permanent store will be too tedious, but why not a pop-up booth? It's also a chance for listeners to meet you guys, say hi, can have a Yalabat recording with guests. And while they listen to a lot of our podcasts on their drive to work, a Yalabat decal would be great to wrap Yalabat on the road.
Yeah.
And they said, imagine seeing a parked car with Yalabat decal beside their McDonald's VIP drive-thru car decal, or a restaurant with Yalabat decal beside Grabfruit. So it's something that we always think about. We're like, at some point, I would love to, something physical that we can give our listeners. I don't know whether we have spoke about it on the podcast, but I think Yalabat toilet paper would be dope. Just play on the words, yes, but compared to decal something. So I mean, it's definitely always on our mind. So and comments like this kind of push us a bit more. So maybe in future we see.
Yeah, maybe.
Same goes with live events.
Correct.
It'd be nice to do another live event also.
Yeah.
Cool, but thanks for the comment, man.
Yeah.
What about you, Terrence?
Mine's from YouTube. I think someone commented on a Xia Sui Moment podcast. This is Falia a few days ago. Terrence saying the pa is in Yalabat sounds like the MRT door closing, which I thought was hilarious because I realized does sound like the MRT door sometimes. Yeah.
What the hell?
But yeah, it's interesting because Good observation. Yeah.
Yeah, good. Maybe they were listening to it on MRT lah.
Maybe. And then they stood up. Oh shit, I missed my stop or something.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be pretty funny. But yes,
yeah.
Thank you all for making these interesting observations.
Yes. And do you have your one Shiok thing?
I do actually. Given that we've been talking about Taylor Swift and everything, I realized that there's a whole swath of people who are probably getting PTSD every time they listen to a Taylor Swift song, right? Because they couldn't get Taylor Swift tickets. So I want to dedicate this to them. But I recently was just browsing the BBC Radio, I think BBC One YouTube channel again for old covers, and then I found an old Imagine Dragons cover of Taylor Swift's Blank Space. And they do it in a very interesting style, the Imagine Dragons style. And they actually mashed it up with an old classic song as well, which was pretty awesome.
Oh, is it?
So yeah. I think I urge everyone to listen to it. And good for you if you got the Taylor Swift tickets. If you don't, you can just listen to these covers and feel sad with other people who didn't get
I'm sure there'll be
tickets.
some pop-up Taylor Swift digital concert happening during the actual concerts. Because I think I've seen videos that people are currently taking at other times she's performing in other countries where they I think in the inside the stadium, but they can also see outside, and they go from inside the stadium, full house. They go outside and the parking lot is also full. Full of people because they can hear the music, and they just rock out to it outside.
They need to do another hologram thing. Like, you remember Tupac? They brought Tupac by hologram. Imagine they did that. Like Chan Chun Sing, with all the Gulf Tech people, they created some camera that can just like record the concert live and then put a hologram of Taylor Swift in some primary school somewhere. And like looks like she's on stage as well. That'll be fucking like
real time, real
time.
Wow.
And
Chan Chun Sing announces his challenge to PM. Challenge to PM is like, yo man, I'm here.
I brought Taylor Swift to Yihua Primary School.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Cool, man.
Yes.
My one Shiok thing is another app that I chanced upon early this morning actually.
Yeah.
It's called Aragon.ai.
Okay, like the Lord of the Rings, Aragon.
I don't know, it's ARAGON.
Oh, GON, okay. That one's GORN.
Yeah.
Aragon.
So I mean, whenever I see a new AI tool and all, I mean, I will always approach it with like, okay, what's this? But there's always a bit of like, really? But this one, I haven't tried it out yet. I want to try it. Their headline is the #1 AI headshot generator. Transform your selfies into AI generated headshots. So I'm not the biggest fan of purely generative AI.
Okay.
Where you create content out of nothing.
Okay.
But what they claim, right, is that as long as you upload at least 12 selfies of yourself, can be shitty selfies taken yourself, but in different angles and different lightings, it would churn out 40 different headshots that, by the look on their website, it looks fucking amazing. And I'm going to try it out. But to me, okay, this is an interesting use of AI where it builds on content you feed it, and it feeds you something back that is that is improved upon through AI. I don't know, it doesn't seem like it changes your features because what they say is it builds a 3D model of your face. And after 30 days, all the data is wiped from their servers. I don't know how true that is. I give them the benefit of the doubt. But it looks pretty damn interesting, man.
But you should test it by holding your hand to your face. Then see if it comes out with 6 fingers. Like all the other generative AI.
But that's purely generative lah.
Oh, yeah.
So this one, I can imagine looking at examples is they really do build on what you send them. And it just sharpens the features, changes the lighting. So it's still you. You feed it pictures of you and it just generates something for you.
And it puts you in a like LinkedIn kind of suit, right? The kind of suit that people wear on LinkedIn.
It's crazy. And like just check out the website. They offer a money back guarantee. I think as a company they're growing pretty damn fast. And I saw this, I was like, God damn, this is cool.
Wow.
This is cool.
Yeah. But that's we talk about like taking Gen Z selfies and how people nowadays don't even want to take like really nice sharp photos of themselves anymore. Maybe this is you'll really tell your age by the kind of like profile photo that you insist on.
Or where you're posting LinkedIn. LinkedIn.
How nice is the photo that you put up, right?
Yeah, correct.
The younger you are, the crappier the photo needs to be.
Yeah. Then there'll be a filter Gen Z-fy it.
Yeah.
And then boom.
Gen Z-fy.
Gen Z-fy it.
But yeah.
Cool, man.
Another AI app brought to you by Harish.
Yes.
Harish.
Yeah.
Is there
Harish.ai.
does your name have AI in it? Tilani. No, it doesn't.
No. I mean, Tilani lah. There's an IA lah. There's an IAI.
Yeah. But it's not like AI directly or anything.
Yeah,
Okay.
But I bought the domain harish.xyz already.
Oh, yeah. That was a while back. That was when your crypto phase, right? You bought that.
I guess so. What's my crypto phase, Terence?
XYZ lah.
I'm open. I'm open to anything that comes. You know, I still have the domain. I still have the domain. Harish.xyz.
The NFT with bubble tea face, right?
That was our face, okay? It wasn't just me.
But
yeah. But cool, man.
Cool.
Awesome. Thanks for listening, everyone. And we'll talk to y'all soon.